playoffs, is there one common denominator you can point to in those games, and what's the key to rectifying that here tonight?
Yeah, just be ready to play. And so you have to earn your wins. You have to be ready from the start. You got to play 48 minutes. You got to be strong on both sides of the ball.
You said you wanted to always look at the tape afterwards. What did you see from last game film that you want you guys to tighten up on?
Yeah, I think the big thing is, getting back in defensive transition. You got to challenge their shots. They can go on runs, so you can't let your guard down at all, and you got to finish your defense. And so oftentimes you can get back, and if you challenge and you don't put a body on someone, they get an offensive rebound, kick it back out, get a three that way. And they have the ability to make tough shots. So we have to be much stronger defensively.
Tom, first quarter's obviously been a problem in this series. Do you implement anything different for a game? Or
No,
do you
just be ready to play.
With the Mitch foul stuff, has there been any thought to starting him before they can?
Well, there's a lot of thoughts that you put into it, and so and again, there's the strategy of what are they doing? Are they in the bonus? Does it get us to the bonus? And then how many is he making? If you're basing it on points per possession, and also it does allow you to set your defense. So there's pluses with it, and then what's he creating for, with the offensive rebounding and all the things that he does as well. And then we've got to make decisions between 5 and 2.
Are you going with the same starters?
We could be.
So on starts though, is the anatomy of a start just getting good shots, hitting those shots? Like, what is the key to starting well?
Yeah, just readiness to play, urgency, being strong on. Obviously you'd rather play with the lead. So I think being in an attack mode and aggressive on both sides of the ball, I think that's huge.
Tom, some of the people point to like Jalen's shooting percentage in the series, but it looks like league-wide a lot of the stars are not hitting their numbers. Is it part of it the way the game's being played, officiated?
Yeah, well, I think that tends to be the case. Usually, and any time you're putting more than one onto the ball, that means other guys are going to be open, right? So you're weighing how much, are you going to commit to that? And so then does that open things up for other players? And so, and that's what great players do. They're going to put that pressure on you. And then the challenge that you have is, if you're committing the second defender to them, also getting back to bodies, once you do, because that does put you in rotation.
Tom, do you think OG was involved enough offensively in the last game, and are there ways to get?
Well, I think part of the problem right now is like we're not getting stops and getting it up the floor fast enough. So I think we got to do that. We got to get into transition. We got to get stops, and then in transition, that's usually where guys will find their rhythm.
Tom, you were talking about points per possession earlier. The pick and roll, their numbers went way up in the first half last game rather. When you look at the process of your pick and roll coverage last game, did you feel like it was steady from game 1 to game 2 to game 3?
Not as well as it could have been. There were some really good possessions of one-on-one defense, but there was also indecision, and the communication has to be stronger, and then the ball pressure has to be stronger. We have to close the gap and not get stuck on screens.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.